I want to introduce to you our first guest. We have here Alan Chapin. So, Alan, welcome to Oklahoma, man.
Wow, thanks.
How's it feel to be in the Sooner State?
I wish I'd gotten here sooner.
See, there it is. We're already off to a good start.
Good one. Yep.
No, but you're the former DYD of Louisiana. So tell us, just give us your quick resume.
Quick resume.
Who is Alan Chapin?
So happily married for more than 22 years to Angela, aka PR31, Proverbs 31 woman. She's awesome. And two miracle kids, struggle with infertility. God bless us with Alex and Austin, who are now 9 and 7. And so I've been just about everything you could think about in youth ministry, volunteer, sponsor, part-time, full-time. I'm back at it again. I'm filling in at 2 churches right now that are without youth pastors. So traveling, speaking, all that kind of stuff. So did the DYD thing, been a lead pastor, worked at Southwestern, just all kinds of stuff.
Wow. So you're filling in at 2 churches?
Yeah.
Okay. Walk us through that. Like, how do you manage having 2 different cultures, 2 different youth groups? Do you have 2 different systems?
Yeah.
Or is it you're just so universally brilliant?
It's what it is.
You have
it's
one
a gift.
system that works everywhere.
So pastor was looking for a youth pastor at one of the other churches. Contacts about 45 minutes away, said, "Hey, I'm just drowning. I'm having to do it all. Can you come help?" And I said, right now I can do every other week if that'll help you out. And he said, sure. So we started doing that. About that time, the youth pastor at our church resigned. And my pastor said, dude, I need you. Come on. And I said, well, I can give you every other week right now.
Yeah.
And so running the same message series and things like that, but trying to navigate that. They are 2 different cultures.
Yeah.
And so trying to go, okay, and remember names and all that. So it's fun. But we launched the youth group at our church several years, about 3 years ago. Just to start from scratch. We had no youth ministry. We started it, and so now it's kind of back taking care of my baby again.
What's it like launching a youth ministry?
Hard. No, we had, there was ministry for kids that was going on. My kids were getting ministry too. I was challenging churches all across our state who did not have youth ministry. Over half of them didn't. And so I was saying, hey, everybody ought to have a youth ministry. And the Lord prompts me one day, says, hey, you're challenging everybody to have youth ministry at their church. I was like, yeah. And he goes, and your church doesn't have one. I was like, I know, God, somebody needs to step up. And he goes, I know, and you're challenging people that already have a job and everything to step up and do it. And I was like, I know, God, if somebody would just do it. He goes, and you probably know more about youth ministry in your church than anybody else. I was like, no. Hey, back up. No. We're not doing this. And but he really dealt with me. We got new pastors about that time. They said, would you do it? I said, yeah, we'll jump in there. So back Sunday school room, just think, kind of 12 by 14 space, no music, we tried video worship. It was horrible. I mean, nothing, they didn't understand prayer. It was like 4 junior hires. And one high school. No, 3 junior hires, 1 high schooler. And but it grew, and the Lord blessed us and helped us. And eventually the church had a building out back they were able to convert. And so it's cool to kind of be back in what is, what started from scratch and is now kind of a normal youth ministry if there's one.
Looking back now, what is that one word of advice that you'd give yourself if you're first starting off in youth ministry?
Yeah, you know what? It's advice from my wife because I was so nervous that first night going into launch and then going back again.
Yeah.
These 2 youth groups, I just found myself nervous all over again. And she goes, hey, dude, you're just going to love students. Just go. They just need somebody to go love them and tell them about the Lord's love and just go be there. Just forget all the hype, forget all the stuff.
Yeah.
You love students. Just go love them.
Yeah.
And it'll be okay. And it was so good. Like, it took off so much pressure. And I was like, man, if I could just remember that all the time. And even coming here this weekend, just going, you know what? Just go love youth leaders and go hang out and, have fun with them and stuff. And then the message will get shared. It'll be okay. And so it's good. But it kind of takes all that edge off, like I got to be something or do something and just go be Jesus with skin on, like Jeannie would say.
But that's so much easier said than done. Like, it's so much easier to say, like, I'm just going to go love people. I'm just going to go love students. I'm just going to go love youth leaders. But especially in today's day and age, like, there's such a level of, I'm just going to be blunt, a level of comparison and competition with other youth pastors because it's just in our face with social media, with technology all the time. So what would you tell me in ministry of, hey, this is how you kill that thought, that ideology of competing and comparing?
Yeah, and I'll actually share about this tomorrow. It's one of the huge portions of really what's behind all of that is this whole thing of living in a performance-based culture and understanding that we don't have to live under that system. And I've said it to someone, in fact, the guy who just stepped aside at our church, I coached him a few times and just told him, said, hey, you know what, dude, I know numbers go up, numbers go down, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still love you. You're still a great youth pastor. Keep rocking this thing. Don't give up. Just be steady and consistent and live that deal out. Do what God told you to do. Be faithful, be obedient. You can do this.
How did you know, and how do you know when it's time to transition? Like how did you know as a youth leader, as a youth pastor, or when you were a youth sponsor, man, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. I want to love on students. I want to love youth leaders. I'm going to be a youth pastor. And how did you know how to transfer or transition?
I don't think I did early on, but I had a great youth pastor
Right.
who was able to say, hey, have you ever thought that maybe, and I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. No way. I'm not having any part of that. And he's like, oh, okay, no, I'm not pushing. I was just wondering, just thinking.
Yeah.
And then I'd be alone. And we were going through some discipleship stuff, and I'd be praying, and the Lord would say, that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. Kind of wanted to, and I was like, dude, how does he know all this stuff?
Yeah.
He goes to every time. But then again, I began to notice those things around me. And then times when I became uncomfortable, I was like, something doesn't fit right anymore. Something doesn't feel, or I'd have a dream in my heart that was out beyond. And I'm thinking, I'm not content with this anymore somehow. And what is this? And yet then some door would open. And yet I'm in a season now where I'm going, okay, Lord, what is this? Transition came to me that wasn't my choice. And I was like, okay, now I'm in this whole new world of searching and going, all right, Lord. And so it's like you learn some principles, but you never completely learn.
Right. And so but now you're in this season of learning, of like transitioning and everything like that. So I need to know, I'm a young minister myself.
Yes.
I need to know, what was the most embarrassing youth ministry moment of your career?
Most embarrassing youth ministry. You know what? One time, this is probably not, I wish it was like, my zipper was down and everybody knew it, but it's not. It was really, we were at camp and a kid had gotten and called out by the speaker for pulling his shirt off in the middle of service, and making a scene. And I got the whole group together after everybody had been sent to bed. I'm standing outside the office and I am just ripping my students, up one side, down the other. I'm just madder than a hornet, and I'm lighting into them. And finally, my wife is like tugging on me going, dude, okay, stop. People are watching. And I look around and everybody in the office is watching me blow up on my students. And I was like, go to your dorms, and so it was great,
Oh my gosh. And the funny thing is, like, you were telling me that was only like 2 weeks ago. With
exactly,
this, like,
absolutely, and I've prayed through. I did have to apologize to the main kid later that I ripped in front of everybody.
Okay, real quick, we got 1 minute left.
Holy
I need
cow.
to know if you could have lunch with anybody, dead or alive, no Bible characters. If you
No
say a Bible character, I'm going to lose
I'm not
it.
that spiritual.
But who would it be?
Dinner with anybody?
Yep.
My wife.
Oh my goodness. You got to get points for that. Though,
I do.
right?
Can we make sure she sees that? So that I just
We'll
want to make sure.
she sees it.
I
It'll
love
work
it.
out well.